Hello again. Today is December 8th of 2011. It's time for me to begin a new series. Begin anew, as if I ever ended. The last series was that of Foundations, and it gave me an opportunity to, in essence, discuss the way that I've chosen to interact with information, using one of the many archetypes that exist on this planet, that of the body, mind, spirit construct. You'll find, upon research, honestly, if you look into it, that everything does lay out in that particular pattern. There are other ways to choose to view information, and most often you'll find one that meets your needs the best, but this is the one that I found works best for me. This next series is on transformations. The word in and of itself implies a continual process. No beginning, no end. Just an ongoing mutation from one form to another. We'll discuss this in greater depth within the three concepts that we'll visit during transformation. But for now, let's focus on the first. That of mortality. I tend to always address information by the most tangible and also important topic first. You'll find that a concept such as death is such a loaded and distorted, misperceived world within our culture. It is the subject of massive amounts of misinterpretations. It's used to subdue, control, to blind. It's also used as a method of elevating oneself. If I was to expound to you, for instance, that I found a way to cheat death, I would achieve a level of fame on this planet that could only be possible if it was coming from a lie, from a distortion. We are all material. That material is in essence light. It is light that has moved slowly enough to take on the appearance of solidity. That solidity gives us denseness, so we have materials we can touch. The majority of our body is made out of such material, light that is slowed down in order to form atoms, and those atoms have combined in order to make varying molecules, that which we call chemicals. Those chemicals have laid out in such a way to give us the varying levels of this body. We sense instinctively that this body is an amazing thing. We also sense instinctively that it's a temporary thing. It's a transient thing. It's an insubstantial thing. The sensations, the life, the information, the interaction, the experience that the body grants us is a precious and wonderful thing, and it causes a deep sense of identification and attachment, which is precisely what it's supposed to do. But it comes at a cost. It comes at the cost of identifying with the body and believing that the body is, in fact, ourselves. So the idea of losing that intimate connection, that which is closest to us, is something that is so laden with fear that it often distorts and actually detracts from our ability to enjoy this life. I remember having a great amount of fear about the concept of mortality. It's one thing that we all universally must face. I came to terms with it, and I'll tell you exactly how. When I understood that all material matter is mortal, it related to me a sense of sameness that relegated everything to even, everything to one. I found solace in that, knowing that, you can distort it by saying a sun is immortal, but it's not. It is, in fact, what we would perceive as extramortal, but it is mortal. It has a birth, it has a period of growing, and then it has a time where it moves on. That moving on that can be something that isn't forced upon us. It can be a choice. And when it's a choice, it comes as a death of limitation, the death of fear. The ultimate fear that everyone unconsciously carries is that of the loss of consciousness, the loss of that which they perceive to be precious. That can never be lost. I'll tell you specifically why. And we all know this, but we ignore the fact of it because it's never been put to us in such a way to be made tangible. Any physicist will tell you energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It only changes shape. It transmutes, transforms. Relate to what I just said. All the material, all the constituent material of this world is in fact just light that is slowed down enough to take on the appearance of solidity, the appearance of matter. It is, in fact, energy. Light is a fractal representation of energy. Sound is a fractal representation of energy. Material, matter, is a fractal representation of energy. What holds true of energy in the form of light, electricity, and sound holds true of material or energy in the form of material. You will just transmute. You might still be skeptical. Let me prove it to you. I can tell you specifically what will happen when you die. You'll go into the ground. This body that is composed of energy, that has been consuming energy in order to sustain its continued existence, will then reinsert itself into the cycle. You will break down. You will go to feed the other forms of existence that are on this planet, the ones that are supporting your existence while you still live. You'll become dirt. You'll become grass. You'll become wind. You'll become wave and water, calcium. You'll break down to the constituent, the base materials that the body is composed of. That is reincarnation, which is in fact a scientific reality, not at all a spiritual belief. Beliefs are something that cannot be proven true or untrue. This is proven true. We know it to be true, but a lot of times we ignore the truths that are self-evident because they aren't commonly held truths, and we fear more ignorance. We fear more disassociation from commonality than we do ignorance. Once you put to death, consciously, the fear of the loss of self, you do in fact die on your own terms. See, that's another thing that is a freeing concept. Mortality is something that is across the board. All material faces it. All material must one day answer to death. It must one day meet it. That will be true of all life. Now, you can't decide how death is going to meet you. You can dwell on it, you can tear yourselves up, and most people do. Most people spend their entire lives thinking about how and when they're going to die. They seek psychics, they seek other people who would be able to tell them because they're so afraid to accept the act of living, knowing that eventually they must abdicate that life. What you can, though, do is decide how you will meet death. What will it see when it meets you? Will it meet you afraid? Will it meet you on your knees, begging for more time because you know that you wasted your time fearing its imminent arrival? Or will it meet you standing? Will it greet you as a friend? Death in and of itself is a promise of release, a promise of abdication of significance. It's much easier to dance, to live life with joy, when you know that all of these toils will eventually be taken from you. You will no longer need to worry about survival and clothing and growing and the churning nature of life, the nature of survival and existence that we've created as a collective that causes us to need to grind continuously. That burden, it will be lifted from you. That's the liberation of death. And when you consciously embrace that on your own terms and in your own time, what you get is the realization that you can never die, because that which is you is composed of light, and light and energy does not die, it transforms. You can transform while living from a being that is mired in death, one who is burdened by it, one who is cloaked in it, to the truth of what you are, a being who is cloaked in light. Yes, you are in fact cloaked in light. And the moment that you accept that, the moment that you embrace it and hold it as your self-evident truth, that light begins to emanate from you, through you, out deeply into the people that you see. You begin to be able to elevate your own essence and help elevate the essence of others. Empower them to see their own light, to perceive it, to embrace it, to be the light that they truly are. There's no fear there. There's no doubt. There is only limitless possibility. You tell me one thing light cannot do. There is not a single thing. All things that are light. So you have infinite capacity to become whatever you want in any moment. This leads us to the totality concept for the topic of mortality. We've been on a journey already. A journey that took us through the constituent light that came from darkness, went to light. That light used sound in order to take shape. That light and sound interacting travel down through the cosmos until we have the single individual human life, which is a complex version of just that, light and sound. Both of which are infinite in application. The totality concept means just this: understanding what you are composed of, what your body is composed of, what your spirit is composed of, what your mind is composed of, is light and sound. Frees you from any illusionary concepts of limitation. There is no limit to the application of sound. There's no limit to the application of light. There is no limit to the application of you, save what limitations you accept as true. If you accept that death is the end, it will be. You know why? Not because death is powerful, but because you are. And that which you demand comes into fruition. That which you empower as truth. Because you are light that is in essence in harmony, in communion with all other forms of light. So if you tell all of that light, you know what? I only want to perceive this one life, this one version of sound, this one version of light, to the exclusion of all else, that there is nothing else that exists other than this planet, than this life. There's nothing else that exists other than being human. The rest of you will say, it will be so. Be the light that you are. Be it. Consciously choose it. Choose death. Embrace it and live. Be free. Adonai.